Okay, our next speaker, thank you for staying with us next 20 minutes, then we have break. Our next speaker came to us from Argentina, from Catholic University of Argentina, and her name is María de Lourdes Moutin. She will be speaking about assistance, human dignity, and economy. Please welcome her with, again, a warm applause.
Well, thank you for your attention and for being here. It is a pleasure to be here for me. And what I want to speak about is assistance, human dignity, and economy. And there is an issue that is linked with all of them, and this is poverty. No, all of us are concerned about poverty, and the whole world is looking for the answer how to solve the poverty. Or some of them ask, who creates poverty? But the right question, I think, is how can we create wealth, right? And firstly, as we are free people, we can find the market. Across the market, we can create wealth, and there we have to develop our skills, we have to take some risk, and we can earn money or not, consequently. Another part of the population thinks that the public assistance is the answer for poverty. But when we have public assistance, we are not creating wealth, we are not creating anything or improving something, we are not giving a solution. We are not developing social skills, we are not taking any risk, and we are receiving money without any compensation, right? And we have in the other part a poor person. And to determine how to help them, we have to ask how far gets poverty. The one who is in the poor condition has no money, but has another difficulties. He or she has family problems. They are poor of goals, of strength, or introspection, retrospection, and education. They have no social skills, and also they don't have money. So when we face poverty as a problem, we need some solutions. And then we can contrast the public assistance as a solution and the private initiative as a solution. It can be the market or the NGOs. The public assistance don't solve any problems such as social problems or malnutrition problems or neurological problems that have poor people. And private initiative takes the whole person and they go into the deepest problems. They work with their families, with the social circumstances, and they make them face their goals. They work with their strengths, and they try to stimulate the introspection, retrospection, and solve educational problems. Because of this, my first conclusion is that public assistance is useless. To get there, public assistance, to get the public assistance, the state divide people into social stratas, and they choose a portion of the population. And then they create some requirements, and the poorest people can satisfy those requirements. So the poorest people don't get the public assistance, right? This is an expensive system, and the state don't sell anything that we want to buy. So how does the state get the money that it grants, right? It has to force people, the citizens, to pay it by taxes. So directly, the citizens are paying it by taxes, and they cannot invest anymore or reduce their employees, And those who are starting their own business, they stop or they quit the idea. And indirectly, poor people not only pay just taxes, they suffer inflation, and of course, they suffer the lack of investment, employment, and they face many troubles to start their own business. The consequences are huge because it is really expensive for the state to pay the public assistance, and this is a really big problem to poor people because they start receiving money without any compensation, and that situation kills their own skills because they don't have to solve problems, they don't have to overcome crises. All of them tools start sleeping, and some of them stop working, they leave their jobs because they know that they will receive the money however. That situation undermines their willpower. Because of this, the another conclusion is that public assistance is not only useless, it is also harmful for the economy and for the individual. Thank God, this is my first time using PowerPoint. Thank God there are a lot of private initiatives that work together with poor people. I mean, they don't give something to them. They work together with poor people. Poverty Cure is an NGO that connects entrepreneurs with people that suffer disasters like Rwanda, and they start sharing social skills, social capital, and ways of working, and they try to show the most poor people of the world how to create a startup. And Conin Foundation is a private organization that started in Argentina, but this is in another countries too, and they go into the deepest poor problems. They work with the families of the weak people, and they try to solve educational problems of the parents of the children, and they fight malnutrition, and they make an integral work with the weak society, because they are working for the next generations, right? Because of this, my last conclusion is that from private initiative, we can solve the poverty problem without harming human dignity or economy. Thank you.
There is a question.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your talk. One quick question. I think you do some charitable work, in Argentina, and if you are related to some of these organizations, if you can tell, you use this chart that was very interesting, of how the government, only cares about money as a problem for poverty, and all the other, spheres, family, friends, it's social skills, it's a work ethic, etc., etc. If you can tell some examples maybe from your work, and also of how you have seen, particularly in Argentina, poor people being treated as children, or as people, who only are basically useless and only have to receive money to keep them in peace, and that's it.
Yes. We have the third generation in Argentina that don't work. They don't go to work. Children are not accustomed to see their parents going to work. No. And there are some programs that give some short jobs to the parents, and they receive some money, but this is a short-term program. Then the government changes, and they have to start again, and we have unemployment again. I work with some poor people, and they are always fighting to create wealth, but government is always trying to give to them money and promises and goods, and this is really hard for them to go out and do something different because the environment undermines their willpower. And sometimes this is very difficult because we have several malnutrition problems, and those who didn't have a good nutrition during the first 5 years, then they cannot think or play or create, and there you lost a complete generation, because then you can keep them receiving money, and then they go to vote to the one who is giving goods or programs or money, so that there starts a vicious circle in which we are stuck on poverty as a country.
You said that a state is supporting people only with money. How do you think this, let's say, how the system should be organized? How can, for instance, the state force private people to support the NGOs?
I think that NGOs should be private. But if the state want to help them, they should put less obstacles to the constitution of the NGOs. When you want to help poor people from the private size, you have to satisfy a lot of requirements. And I think that this has an aim or a goal, is that state wants to have the monopoly of charity. Okay. Well,
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.